Welcome to Minutes by Minute. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kenny.
And we're here to talk about what goes on in the village, the township, and all the government entities that make regulations and ordinances and rules that affect you out there.
And just remember, these are the people that you elected or the commissions or committees that they've appointed. The decisions that they make directly affect you, whether you go to these meetings or not to voice your opinion. And that's why we're here.
Right. And if you sit back, you'll have to enjoy the ride. Maybe. But that's where the humor comes in. We found there's little itsy-bitsy pieces of humor everywhere embedded within government transactions and activities. Don't you agree?
Yes, true. And by the way, that mostly true what we say.
Probably by 50%, 75%.
The other half.
Well, anyway. So anyway,
The better half.
most of what you hear will be correct. Let's talk about, first of all, the Oxford Township Planning Commission.
The Planning Commission.
Yes.
Headed up by Sue Basardi. No,
No.
that's Sue Basardi is the village.
She's the village.
This
is
would
the
be Todd
township.
Bell.
This would be Todd Bell. And you know what? If you want to watch how a meeting is conducted and done very well, I would say Todd Bell does as good a job as anyone out there in a meeting, in controlling the meeting.
By the way, what he's talking about is keeping the meeting short.
Well, he has a lot of area to cover, usually
Right.
in a planning commission meeting.
And it can stray.
Right, and so he's very well regimented. He lets the public know that he won't take any extra,
Come on, say it.
I want to say crap.
Oh, you did say it.
I did say it out there. And so if they go too far and they don't show respect, or if anyone doesn't show respect, on his board, boy, he lets you know that right away.
Right, and that's the way it should run
Yep, and he follows the guidelines and the rules. Anyway,
at any meeting.
yeah, at any meeting. They, of course, talked about last month's meetings. They approved those immediately, the minutes.
Right.
So that was taken care of. 2015 chair nominations were brought up, and there were people elected to those seats.
Anyone
And-
different?
Well, not really. Todd Bell was unanimously put in as chairperson again.
Incumbents do have an advantage, folks.
All right. Then Tom Berger was made vice chair.
All right.
And Ed Hunwick, interesting enough, was made secretary. And he was secretary, he was put on before, for last year. But he serves on other committees as well.
What do secretaries do?
They take the minutes,
Do they?
accurately, produce the copies so that for the next meeting, it's provided.
They don't actually have a recorder there for that?
No.
Okay.
He just takes notes as
Okay.
he goes along.
All right.
Or, well, I'll take it back. They do have an audio recorder, but there wasn't a transcriptionist, doing that work the other night. So I'm sure that Ed had to, take the notes.
Yeah.
So,
And,
anyway.
it's difficult to do that, especially when you're participating in the meeting.
Yeah, it is. So anyway, the first issue that came up, or the one that they wanted to talk about that particular evening, was a public hearing. They wanted a company called Hamlin LLC out of Rochester.
Hamlin, as in Hamlin Pub?
As Hamlin. I don't know, Hamlin Pub is the same thing.
I wonder.
You
Well, go
tell me
ahead.
that. Okay, that's another subject. We'll have to bring that back to you folks sometime. He'll get us the information, won't you?
Why, sure.
Okay. Anyway, they came before this board a while back for a PUD, which is a planned unit development, which doesn't require following the strict rules of the ordinances and regulations for property development. In other words, they take it step by step under a PUD program and walk the individual through it. And if it's approved by the Planning Commission, they usually put a stamp of approval. But the first go-round, it was not approved because they initially were looking for less than 1 acre.
What do they want to do?
They want to build a housing development, and they're going to call it White Pines Estates. And the homes there are estimated to be somewhere around $250,000 to $350,000 each.
Okay.
However, the size of the property, which is 41.7 acres, that can be developed, would not fall under less than 1 acre. They wouldn't allow it to happen because that particular area is zone SF2. And then SF2, that is a suburban farms designator, and requirements is 5 acres of land minimum.
Oh,
So they wouldn't be able to do it. So anyway, so they turned it down under PUD. Now they're back again, and this time they're going strictly by the ordinance, and they're saying we will go 1 acre of land per home,
less homes.
less homes, and they want it. They want a zoning change from SF2 to R3, which is residential.
Does that affect any of the other residents in the area?
Yes, it does. And a bunch of people jumped up and said, "Hey,
I see.
let's talk. We want something to say here." But before that happened, Commissioner Callie, I can't think of what her
Callie Rossner.
Rossum, yeah. She said, well, she didn't agree that there should be a change, in other words, zoning change, going from 5 acres to 1 acre, because there's a lot of homes in that area that, you know, people, when they purchased the property,
And they complied.
they complied, 5 acres. Those that did not comply completely was the Twin Lakes subdivision.
Okay.
Now, you have to go back 20 years to know what this Twin Lakes situation was. Before that, everything was 5 acres. So 20 years ago, this contracting company or development company said, well, we're going to build these homes, you know, in this particular tract of land, which turned out to be Twin Lakes.
Were there
And-
actually lakes on the property?
Well, I think there must be, or they wouldn't call it Twin Lakes.
Well, sometimes when there's lakes and stuff on the property, because the lakes do encroach into the general land area,
That could be.
they request variances.
That's pretty technical. You go out and check, will you?
Sure. Okay. Add that to my list.
Anyway, that was 20 years ago, this development company came in and they were going to build all these homes. Well,
Right.
before they could build these homes, they went out of business, declared bankruptcy. Another company came in and they said, well, we're going to build these homes now. And they said, well, no, because you want to build 1 acre lot properties, and it's designated zoning for 5 acres. So there is a big hoop-de-doo, and as you say, what, pitchforks and fire or whatever, back 20 years ago.
Torches and pitchforks.
Yeah, torches and pitchforks came in, and they, all the residents had complained about it. But, so the planning commission, they said, well, we're not going to allow it then. So the company at that time said, well, we're going to take it to court then and challenge it. So they started the process. In the meantime, the township looked at it, and back in those days, they said, hey, we don't really have that kind of money to fight this in court. Maybe we can arbitrate it, you know, sit down and discuss
Discretion
this.
was the better part of valor.
Well, you would think so, but when they did that, they set a precedent, and that all comes back to bite you right now. So they did sit down, they did come to an agreement, and it was what they call a consent agreement, or a consent judgment approved. And so they were allowed to build these homes, less than 5 acres in size, the property that it sits on. So that now is coming back because this company says that White Pines, that they
Isn't
want to
there
build.
a precedent in law called, if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander?
No! That's another Mother Goose thing. We'll get back to that in just a minute. We'll discuss this further. Mother Goose.
You're watching COCTV.
Hi, everybody. I'm Terry Stiles.
Hi, everybody. I'm Bill Service, and I'm the producer of Our Community Access. Terry and I started our show 8 years ago to bring our community into your living rooms.
Our Community Access is a show born from the rich diversity of our community, and we want to brag about it and the people creating that diversity.
Over the year, we've been from fox hunts to beekeeping and right in your own backyard.
We welcome new businesses, chamber fashion, senior hobbies, class reunions, and much, much more.
We've covered all our celebrations from Leonard Strawberry Festival to our premier Lone Ranger Parade.
But there's still more avenues that we plan on going on.
So watch our Community Access at 9:30 and 5:30 every day, and you have a great, great week.
I would love to have all the local World War II veterans on my life. Just think about it. These folks were born around World War I, grew up during the Depression and Prohibition, and then went to fight for us in Europe and Japan. What great stories they could share. What examples they are. What inspirations. Some of them and others are coming up on my life Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. and 5 p.m., Saturdays at 10 a.m. If you have any suggestions, please call us at the station. We'd love to hear from you. This is John Ochins. Join us on Oxford Community Television, keeping it local.
Welcome back to Minutes by Minute. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kenny.
We are talking about the Oxford Township Planning Commission meeting that they had on January 8th. And the whole thing was to try to get to rezone an R3 area to an from an SF2, I'm sorry, to an R3, which is family residential, which is 1 acre. Right now, currently, it's 5 acres. This particular company wants to go with 1 acre lots, for these homes.
In an area where everybody else has 5 acres.
Right. And this is on Stanton Road. And it's also connected some way to Baldwin Road.
Stanton does intersect Baldwin.
Okay,
yes.
so it's on that corner. And so they said, is there anybody back there that have anything to say? And
They raised their hand.
Mr. Moody, he stood up and he says, the property values that we have will be damaged, if this is allowed to go through. And then Sandy Sutton, she stood up and she says, and the company should know that there's a lot of traffic that's going to be traveling this road. So it's going to be additional repair to the road, and it's a gravel road.
Right.
Well, anyway, Commissioner Callie, she spoke up and she said that contrary to the master plan, this would be contrary to the master plan if they allowed it to go to 1 acre. And they kept bringing up the point that it was approved for Twin Lakes, so why shouldn't it be approved, for this particular subdivision at White Pines? And she said, well, you're going to see additional traffic on Stanton. It's already handling roughly about anywhere from 800 to 1,200 cars per day on that street.
So is the question, what is the township going to do to improve the road?
No.
Is it a public road or a private road?
They said, well, it's up to the county. The county needs to take care of that road. That's theirs.
That's
their problem.
It is a county road.
It is a county road.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
So anyway, the commissioner, she contacted the county and they said, well, if you're running 1,200 cars up and down there, that's far beyond, what's required, that there's going to be problems with that road.
1,200 cars?
1,200 cars.
Is that over a period of a year?
That would be over a period of, I suppose, over a day, a week, 700 to 1,200 cars.
On that little road?
Yeah. And that's calculating this new subdivision.
Oh.
Okay, so they're figuring the car traffic.
Yeah.
So anyway, they went on about that, and they said that we should now, after about 15 people stood up and complained that they didn't want to see this go in, they said, Todd says, well, let's take a vote on this. Anybody's going to have a motion, let's make a motion. So a motion was made by Commissioner Young, who said, let's go ahead and approve this. So many words. So they took a vote on it. It was seconded. They took a vote on it. Young said yes. Chairman Bell said yes. Jack Curtis said yes. And Vice Chair Berger said yes. Callie said no. And Ed
means it
Hunwick
passed.
said no. So
it
it was
passed.
passed. Now, what will happen now? It'll go to the Board of Trustees.
Right.
To actually get approval, a stamp of approval, if they decide to do it. It will be left to them to make that decision. This is just a
And
recommendation.
I would suspect that the same antagonist would show up at that meeting.
Well, I would think you folks would want to, if you have an interest in this, probably show up at that meeting. So check it out with the township and find out when the next Board of Trustees meeting is. Well, you probably have it on your list today.
The Board of Trustees.
Well, we'll get back to that. Don't do that yet.
You're baiting me.
I am, yes. They did talk about also another interesting area, and that is the safety path. You're probably wondering what's going to happen next year.
What safety path?
Well, there's a safety path that they're putting in, for the township.
Where?
Yeah. Well, funny you should ask. It's going to be Seymour Lake Road. They're going to do along Seymour Lake Road. The Township Hall is going to extend from Township Hall, I guess, to
Dunlap Road.
Well, yeah. And M24, Gateway and Market Street is also going to Market Street is going to be completed as well. So those are the things under the agenda for year 2015. Now, do you have any questions concerning the township?
No,
Okay, then let's talk about Village of Leonard. Shall we do that?
if you really want to.
If I must, I will. Okay.
After all, you did take all those notes.
Right. Village of Leonard, January 12th. You ready for this?
Go for it.
Okay, put your seatbelt on. Here we go. Tom McDonald is the chairman.
Yep.
Does a great job over there, too. It's a nifty town if you've never been to Leonard. I really enjoy it every time I go there. It sets back in about 1940s. Atmosphere, people are very friendly. Anyway, that's another story that we can do on
Bucolic,
PR.
pastoral, rural. Nice.
Right. First thing, right. And the first thing they did at this meeting, of course, is they approved the minutes from the previous month. So that was done. Agenda was approved, and the treasurer's report with amendments was also approved. Some of the amendments, they increased the labor for the budget for next year by $400. The fire hall, also the fire department, $600. They said, well, how come $600 for the fire hall? They said, well, heat has gone up. And so they said, well, okay, if the heat's on, okay, we got to do it, we got to do it. We could turn it off, but, you know, they have those big heavy suits, you know, that they wear, you know, for fires. They could
That's
wear
true.
those, you know, without heat, couldn't they? Well, anyway, the pipes would freeze and
The
they go to use
heat's
water
gone up,
hoses.
but the heat's gone up, but gas has gone down.
Yeah. That's interesting. Anyway, they said also it covers equipment.
Okay.
So, anyway, they said that they also included costs for a blinker that has to be put in the village. $25 cost. For
Where would the
that.
blinker be?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Is this for the fire
Put that
department?
on your notes.
Is this for the fire department?
Could be for the fire department.
So it would just be a,
Fire
warning,
station,
a warning,
probably
a
the
warning
warning light.
signal that, you know.
Here comes a truck.
Right, here comes the truck.
There
Here
goes
comes
the truck.
Right.
Anyway,
Watch out for the truck.
right, watch out for the truck. The next one is a sign that says, watch out for the truck, another $25. No,
And another sign that says, watch out for that sign.
no, they said also, right, what they're gonna do is, it's actually gonna be a wash, because they took $25 out of the pavement fund, and they're gonna put it into the blinker fund. So it's gonna take care of that.
There's your blinking fund.
They got it covered, yes. They did mention, Tom did mention that there's a grant that's available to do the main stretch of road that goes through town. And it's $500,000.
Is that Rochester Road?
No.
Elmwood?
I don't know if that's...
Or is it Elmwood?
I think it's Elmwood, yeah.
Okay,
So anyway, they're going to repave that, 'cause it's in dire need of that.
all right.
And, but they have to act on that fairly quick, because there's a time limitation when they can pick up this grant. So he said, you know, we need to get on that like right away and allocate what we're going to do for it. There's a matching funds for that they have to provide.
All right.
Accounts payable bills. Okay, they had some bills to pay. And the bills, they took $7,904.70 out of the general fund to pay bills.
Because it wasn't in the budget?
It wasn't, well, it was in the budget probably, but it was in the general fund. They probably just transferred funds, more than likely, just
Oh,
moved it.
well.
Major fund, they have one called a major fund too, which they took $865.41 out.
So what's a major fund?
It's part of, well, it's a way they have their general ledger set up, apparently. You know, you would know more about that than me, because you...
I don't have a
general
major
ledger.
fund. I don't even have a petty fund.
Maybe you should, maybe you should add one. You think you could get away with that? Let's talk about that when we come back, right after this, how much he can get away with doing his accounting.
It's Connie again from Connie's Kitchen, coming to you from Treetop Lodge, the place where magic happens and unicorns roam freely. We'll be doing a wide variety of cooking shows here on Oxford Community Television, and I personally would like to thank the crew for coming out and giving me this opportunity to share my passion and what I love to do with you from Connie's Kitchen. So please join us on OC TV, join us at the Lodge, and look for us all over the town. See you soon.
Okay, we're back to Leonard again. This is Minutes by Minute. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kenny.
And at Leonard, they said, well, we're going to need additional funds because we haven't had a tax increase for 20, 30 years here, and it's at 6%, and we think it should go to 7%. Now, the board can...
This is millage.
The millage. And they can make that decision rather than go to the vote of the people. So they said, well, we're going to need that money for next year. We're not asking for a whole lot beyond that.
But aren't property values going up now? And
Well, there will be some, and the new subdivisions will be affected. The old ones won't be affected so much as, it's
until they sell.
amortized, so until they sell. But anyway, the new ones, they'll pay an average of probably about $60 more per year, more likely, new homes going in. Anyway, not so much. And the point was made up, well, other communities, their millage is a lot higher than ours, excuse me. For example, they said Oxford millage is really high. It's 12 mills, which is incorrect. The village actually is at 10.62, so it's not at 12. But and they're trying to hold that.
Village of Oxford, of course, is an overlap situation with the township.
It is, but it does cover, like the,
As Leonard would be overlapped by Addison.
Yeah, well, they do all the plowing and stuff like that, for the village and the
Right.
water works,
Right.
that kind of thing. And if you've ever noticed where the snow is flying, that how clean the roads look in Oxford Village as compared to the township, which is done by the county, could be a little problem. So anyway, there's a lot of things that the village does for that kind of money. If you want to find out more, go to the village. They'll be glad to give you a list of, where your millage is going. Anyhow, let me see. We talked about the grant. Okay, radon. They said there are radon kits available through Oakland County, and they're available for $5 each. So you can
Right.
get it through through Leonard, by requesting it for $5, or you can go to the Addison Township Hall and they can get it for you, or like Oxford or any of the others.
And radon is a radioactive gas, isn't it?
It is.
And it has some potential to cause cancer. And in some places, it seeps up from the deep ground into basements.
Right.
That's where the detector should be.
Yeah. And it's all over the place. It's in the dirt, the ground, that your building is on.
If only we could harvest it and sell it.
Yeah, you're right. Why don't you work on that? Okay. Let me see. They did approve the contract with the community, Oxford Community Television. What am I trying to say here?
The interlocal agreement.
That's it. That's the one. And they did approve that. No problems at all. Shar Southerby brought up the point that the station is considering moving to a new location, so that would be a consideration that Leonard has to be aware of, down the line. Then she talked about the fundraisers that she has worked with, and they were able to raise $4,000 in one fundraiser, and another lady brought in donations in a jar that was $350, so it all goes into the fund for beautification and whatever purposes are needed.
Wonder whose piggy bank that was.
I don't know. But anyway, it worked out pretty good for the folks in Leonard, and that's the way they do things. Addison Township Board of Trustees was the other one. They talked about, hey, what's going on with the new facility?
What's going on with the new facility?
Nothing.
What?
Yeah.
It's at a standstill?
Bruce Pearson, who's negotiating with them because the price was way too high. If you recall, it's over $2 million as opposed to 1.5. Anyway, $800,000 higher than what the original.
Has a shovel hit the ground yet?
Has not.
Okay.
Okay. So Bruce says that there's several meetings going on. I'll have more for you at the next meeting. Rates resolution. They need a resolution for EMT and fire recovery fees, and that was approved. It's pretty much just a general thing that
Recovery fees
Yeah.
being what the insurance company or private individual would pay for the use of an ambulance.
You got it.
Okay.
Right there. Okay. Interlocal agreement. They also approved the interlocal agreement without hesitation. So that was all set to go for the Oxford Communications Cable Commission. Budget for 2015, they did discuss that rather in length. They said that there is a tax for trailer court within their area that's $1,400 yearly, and that's input coming to them.
Hey, by the way, going back
Yeah.
to the revision to the Township Hall, wasn't in our previous programs we were talking about a big cost overrun?
Yes, $800,000 higher than the estimate, remember?
Woo!
Yeah, yeah. Remember I brought that up a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you snooze, you lose. Anyway,
Hey,
okay, you
okay.
folks out there, keep an eye on them.
hey.
Yeah, right. Let me see, facilities expense. Okay, they have money in there for custodial expense. They said that that there's going to be a reduction, however, if the new building gets built, because they won't have as much maintenance. The roof won't leak, you know, we'll have to get buckets, you know, for the water and all that kind of stuff. Can you read that? Anyway, he's staring at something. I don't know exactly what, but we'll get back to you on this one, folks.
Okay, it has to do with the Oxford Township setting aside the signing the interlocal agreement.
Yeah, Oxford Township has set it aside. Do you know anything about that?
They had a meeting last night, and apparently there were some changes made to the interlocal agreement, correcting minor things on it. And because I believe not everyone had a chance to review it, they simply tabled it for the next meeting. It wasn't a rejection.
Oh, okay. So just a short delay for Oxford Township. All the others, they just flew by and let them go with it, because they have the same attorney that developed all this paperwork, pretty much. So there shouldn't be any glitches in it whatsoever, I would think.
right.
But anyway, the township, I'm sure, will do the right thing here and provide support. They have in the past.
Yep,
you know,
they've been very
100%.
good to us.
So, yep. So anyway, let me see. Police budget, okay. Revenues are up. In other words, watch it when you go through the town. Revenues are up for the police. Drunk drivers particularly, I mean, they're finding the living daylights out of the drunk drivers. And by the way, they do have to keep them in a little bit, a little house, you know, temporarily.
The cooler.
The cooler, that's what it's called, the cooler. And it says cooler expense here.
It does?
No, I'm just kidding. So anyway, Bruce brought up and he says, well, you know, the Parks and Recreation want a tractor too. So that's in the budget, $10,000 to $12,000, but they need to define exactly what they want. They want a brush hog on it, so it's going to take care of the trails for them. And they thought, hey, that's a great idea. And Bruce said, well, we're going to move the old garage from Lake George, and we're going to move it to Arnold School. And that'll make a good storage unit for the lawnmower.
That's that
and the
little
tractor.
historic school that sits
It
along
is.
Lakeville Road, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty
Okay.
cool. Yep. So what's coming up?
Well, we do have meetings. On 1/20 at 7 o'clock, the Village of Oxford Planning Commission. At 6:30, the Oxford School Board meeting. Well, actually, it's not. It's the School and Superintendent Forum, which I'm assuming will take place at the district offices. That's at 6:30. On 1/21 at 7 o'clock, the Addison Township Fire Board. At 6:30 that same day, Oxford Board of Education, and that will be at the Oxford High School. And at 3 o'clock on 1/21, the Polly Ann Trail Management Council will be meeting, and this time it's at the Vets Hall, where the township meets. And also on 1/22 at 7 o'clock, the Oxford Township Planning Commission. And last but not least, on 1/26, the Oxford Area Cable Communications Commission, our parent body, will be meeting at 4 o'clock at the Vets Hall.
And you have all your little numbers in a row.
Ta-da.
Well, this is Minutes by Minute. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kenny.
And we'll catch you next time, right here.
See you then.
Because I love sports. I've been involved in educational athletics all my life, and I like to give back to the kids and the athletes and the parents and the schools.
And there was guys that were nice enough to do it and volunteer their time when I was a kid coming through school, so I'm just paying it forward.
You can be a referee.
Congratulations, OCTV, as the 2014 winner of the American Legion's Best Electronic Media Award, symbolizing your efforts to provide meaningful coverage of veterans issues and patriotic activities, as well as the American Legion.
Whether it's an upcoming musical in the Fine Arts Center, a World's Robotics Competition, a new program for preschoolers, or a new superintendent, if it concerns our schools, we'll have it on Schooling Around. This is John Oceans. Join us Mondays through Fridays at 4:30 and 10 p.m. Part of Oxford Community Television's Keeping It Local.